October is such a magical month in the garden. The leaves are falling and the morning is crisp and things are finally coming to a rest in our gardens and our food forest. But there's still a lot that we can do to set ourselves up for success next year during this month. We want to always prepare ourselves so that we can have stronger and healthier harvests every year. And fall preparation is one of the best times to do that. Stay with me till the end because I'm going to share something that's going to give you healthier soil and less pests if you do it now next year. So you definitely don't want to skip that. General garden tasks. Make sure that you're not cleaning up too much. I mean, definitely be wise about what you're leaving. If there's diseased parts of your fruit plants, get rid of those, right? If there's leaves fallen from your trees, or if you had a diseased plant somewhere in your garden, definitely get rid of those. Take them out, burn them, definitely. But then the rest of it, leave it, because this is what we're gifting to ourselves next year as well, and to all the pollinators and the predatory insects that live in these beautiful overwintering brush piles and plant stalks that you leave in your garden, especially sunflowers and echinacea and evening primrose and things like that. Leave those be, and then in the spring we'll clean those up. Mulching is a big deal right now. If you can get your mulch in, put it around your perennials, put it around your fruit trees. Make sure you don't have it right up against the base of your fruit trees, but around the outside of it so that you can keep back the weeds. And then keep it heavy right now because it's going to want to soak in all that moisture from the winter, and it's going to cover the ground so that there are less weeds in the spring and now. And it's also going to insulate your roots of these plants so that they can overwinter a lot better and be a lot stronger in the spring. And then definitely do your final weeding before dormancy. If you have a field like this, definitely don't mow it all down. We want to leave good swaths of grass for the lightning bugs. But if you don't have lightning bugs, don't worry about that. But this is the last time that we're really going to have to weed before the leaves fall and cover the ground and make it almost impossible to tell where the weeds are. Things that we need to do in our orchards or our food forests. Forgive me, I'm walking back and forth because my daughter, she needs to take a nap, and she is not napping right now. So if I walk, she will stay happy. When you're pruning your trees right now, only take out the diseased parts. Definitely don't prune heavily or even do your annual pruning right now. Make sure you keep that to a minimum, otherwise you're going to kill your fruit trees. So that's really, really important. Leave the heavy pruning for winter when they're fully dormant. If you have to make a big cut, or let's say a storm came along and broke off one of your larger branches, we're not talking the little things that you would just normally prune off, but if there's a big gash or there's a broken piece of wood on your fruit trees, now is the time to put sealant on it. Now, the old permaculture method way of doing this is to put 2 parts of bentonite clay with 1 part of cow manure, and then add water until it's moist into kind of a thick paste. And then you just smear that over the wounded part of the tree, and then it's protected, it's nourished, and it can heal itself, which is wonderful, and that's what you want. Now, there's another way that you can do it as well that doesn't have anything to do with cow manure, but there's multiple methods actually. If you're a member, I will have a whole recipe set of different kinds of sealants that you can have. The way that you prepare it and the way that you apply it to your trees in the downloads that I give you guys for each of these videos. So make sure you go to the community page, find the post that says for members only, download that link, and I'll have all sorts of good stuff for you. Not just the list of what you need to do in October to keep things healthy, but also lists like that recipe for your fruit trees. And if you're not a member, definitely consider becoming a member. You can have access to all the downloads that I've added since starting the membership program. And you get extra bonus stuff like more videos, early access to videos. You get some more updates on the homestead stuff that we're doing here. And eventually, as our group grows, I'm going to start doing live streams that are just for members only. So we definitely want to do something like that for our fruit trees and not use chemicals, because chemicals are the bad guys, right? That's what we stay away from as much as possible. Sometimes you got to use them, but let's not if we don't have to, if we really don't have to. Now is also the time that you're going to want to plant your hardy shrubs. So put in the aronia berries, put in your blueberries, put in your raspberries. Definitely get the those mums that you're buying for decoration. I love mums. I will never get tired of mums. Make sure you get those planted now as well, because odds are the mums you're buying are hardy to this zone. If you're in zone 6 or 7, most mums are hardy all the way down to zone 5. So next year, wherever you plant them, you'll get those beautiful blooms again and again. And if you really take care of them, next spring, well, not next spring, the spring after next fall, you can dig them up and divide them, and you can have more and more mums all over your property. Sow your ground covers, things like clover and vetch. That's something that you're really going to want to put in now. And as well, we're going to talk about, and as well as sowing your ground covers and your nitrogen fixers there. Also, this is a great time to sow those wildflower blends that you see at your nursery or Tractor Supply, or I think I've even seen them at the garden center of Lowe's. But if you find a pollinator blend or a wildflower blend, now's the time to grab those packets and scatter those seeds wherever you want to have a beautiful flower garden next year, for whatever purpose, whether it be for pollinators or cut flowers or whatever, right? Plant those now, scatter the seeds, water them in, and then they'll overwinter, which is usually really good for those blends. A lot of those seeds that they include in the blends have seeds that need to be stratified, which means they need to go through a long, cold dormancy period in order to sprout. So now is the time that you want to plant them. Don't wait till spring. Sometimes it says on the packets to wait till spring. Sometimes packets lie. So get those planted now, water them in, and then you'll have something beautiful to look forward to in the spring. You also want to plant your garlic and your shallots and your onions, your winter onions now. Get those in the ground. Like I said before, my mother-in-law, she says you plant your garlic in on Halloween and you harvest it on 4th of July, at least for our zone, and we're in zone 6B. Now we're also harvesting those cool season crops that you planted, things like kale and cabbage and stuff like that, if you planted them. If you didn't, it'd be hard to harvest them now, wouldn't it? I definitely didn't, because I got my hands full and I did not do that. Next year, I'm going to be starting to add more vegetables to our planting list, but that was just not on the table for me this year. And that's okay. Seasons come and seasons go. Plant your spinach and your lettuce and your arugula early this month, and you'll be able to still get a really good harvest out of those. And especially if you're adding row covers, you could still do some succession planting with that and do some in the middle of October, not just at the beginning, and get a staggered harvest. Get your row covers out, get those ready to go, because now is the time that we're going to start needing them, right? So get those out and ready. We can use those in the fall, and we can also use those in the spring. But make sure once the heavy snows start coming along that we're going to want to take down those covers. And unless you've got the really heavy duty ones, in which case I'm jealous. Good for you. That's really awesome. If you have any bird feeders, put them out now. And if you have to cut back, like your echinacea or your evening primrose or something like that, take the seed heads and put those in your bird feeders. Or pile up those seed heads around in the corners of your garden. The birds will find them, I promise. Last month was a great time to plant irises. this month is definitely the time that you want to plant your tulips. They like colder soil, otherwise they rot. So now get those tulips in the ground. Also plant those daffodils, crocuses, things like that. Now is the perfect time to get those in the ground. And next spring, you'll be met with just such beauty and surprises. I always forget where I plant things. And seeing those bulbs come up in the spring brings me so much joy. I hope if you do it that you find joy in it too. What are the plants that you are planting this fall? I really want to know. Are you planting any perennial bushes? Are you adding any daffodils or tulips? I think I enjoy planting in the fall even more than I enjoy planting in the spring. And now we get to start harvesting our pumpkins as well. So start decorating with those pumpkins if you planted them. If not, head to your local farmer's market because it's pumpkin season. And I love pumpkins. We even named a cat Pumpkin. Now, a healthy garden is a stronger garden, just like a body, right? The healthier you are inside, the less likely you are to get sick. So one of the best ways, and this is what I was telling you at the beginning, one of the best ways to get your garden ready for next spring to prevent pests and disease, and also to prevent more weeds, cut back your nitrogen fixers now. Make sure you're cutting them back almost all the way to the ground, depending on what they are, and layer them along your fruit trees and put them around the base of your perennial shrubs. This mulch, especially if you're using things like comfrey, which is not a nitrogen fixer, but it is a soil builder. If you're cutting those back and mulching around the bases of your trees, and your shrubs, you will have less weeds, and those nutrients will soak into the ground over the winter, and you'll end up with healthier plants next spring, and they will be more disease resistant and pest resistant. If you'd like the full printable checklist of what to do in October, make sure that you become a member, and you'll also get my full recipes for the tree sealants, the natural ones without any chemicals, to keep your trees healthy and thriving even through damage. And one last tip, don't forget to gather up your garden tools. Do it now before those leaves fall. You know they're coming, and once those clippers get covered, we're not finding them again until next spring. Check out the community tab. If you have any questions about anything, you can always message me. You can find me on Facebook. You can also find me on Instagram, Bay Hollow Homestead. If you have anything that you'd like to discuss. And we are doing our live streams now every Sunday, and it's looking like we're gonna do them at 4 o'clock. If you wanna have talks about gardens or permaculture or food forests or cats. I think last time we discussed how my husband was a polar bear. I don't know. Anyway, so if you want to join us on our super fun live streams, join us on Sundays. There's a poll on the community tab where you can show if you would like to have the live stream at a certain time of day. And right now, 4 o'clock is winning, but if it changes and something else wins, by next Sunday, we'll change that time. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.